I've got you back. Sorry. I've got you back. Sorry. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Lots going on.
Good.
Lots going on.
Um,
How you doing?
good going on.
Yeah, I've got plenty of workshops, festivals, and I'm going to start doing some work with the Royal Surrey Hospital after Christmas
Oh, wow.
with the doctors and nurses. Yeah, which is really exciting. It's going to be a challenge, lots of resistance, as you can imagine. But yeah, I'm hoping that we can show them how powerful something as simple as breathing can be, and that in some way
Yeah.
we can kind of become the force field in between them and a lot of the patients that see them. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Lovely. Yes.
Yeah,
That will be a really new experience, I should think.
it would be. Yeah,
It made for, you know, the link you sent us, Susie, it made for an interesting read.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I sent everything you sent me, Alan.
did you?
Hi,
Yeah.
Bridget. Hi, Joe. Hi,
Hello.
Lindsay.
Hi.
Hi. How's you all? Good.
Good, thank you. Me, you?
Yes, great. Thank you. Now, I don't know how many will join today, Alan, because obviously a lot of people are busy
Yeah,
and it being December. And so
yeah.
I've had quite a few um, email back and say that they're not able to come, but they're really looking forward to the recording. Um, so we'll be sending that out as well, if you don't mind. I'm pretty
Yeah, of
sure
course not.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, yeah. It's a long time since I've been on Zoom. Actually, I had to upgrade my Zoom. I haven't been on it for ages. So
Oh, it's much nicer face to face, isn't it? And could
yeah,
I just mention, um, whilst we've got a few people on at the beginning, that there are already 5 of us who would love Alan to come up next year and do a workshop with us. And so if you're interested in that afterwards, please let me know, because we're going to get that organised at a venue locally.
Can you
And
hear us? Oh, is
Oh, yeah.
mute it?
oh, hi.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're there. Can you hear us now?
yes, yes, we can. Yeah, have you been having problems?
No, no, I just don't know how to do it. I forgot.
it's
Actually, we're all over in the north here. We've got Lindsay and Paul from Bridlington. We've got Linda from Huddersfield. We're all from Ackworth, West Yorkshire. So,
Where's Christine?
well, she's had a hip replacement, so she's in recovery at the moment. I'm not sure. Is she back out of hospital, Joe? Yes,
I think was she only in for the day?
in for the day. Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure. But
yeah.
all went well, I think.
Yes.
And
Yeah, it certainly sounded like it on Sunday evening. Yeah. Um, so I'm not quite sure. What time is it? 13:32. Shall we give it till 25 to Alan and then
yeah, yeah. I'm
make
happy
start?
happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you got? What's the
Well, the face-to-face meetings, we kind of book a slot from 1:30 to 3:30, but we're not expecting you all that time from you. So, whatever you would like to do, please go ahead, and we'll look forward to the experience.
excellent? Yeah, not a problem. So we can. You wanted to wait another couple of minutes.
Yes, we'll
Yeah.
just wait another couple of minutes and see if anybody else lands.
Kevin and Mike not doing it, Susie.
Sorry?
Are Kevin and Mike not doing it?
Well, I did message them. I've emailed them a couple of times, and I've also put it in WhatsApp. I don't know if you want to WhatsApp them again and see if they
No,
can jump.
I can't hear. I'm not good. No,
Oh,
they
right.
don't reply
Yeah,
to me anymore.
yeah. Oh, you look like you're in a sauna.
We are.
Oh, wow.
We're in our summer house with our with our log burner on. So it's
Oh,
like
nice.
sauna.
That sounds great. On a lucky day. Mhm. So I'll just mention that I met Alan earlier this year in August at the Sun and Moon Healing Festival in Suffolk, and experienced one of his. Oh, I thought we'd lost you there, Alan. One of his breathing workshops, and found it the most amazing experience, both physically and mentally and emotionally. And it made such an impression on me that I've carried on doing the 10 minutes a day that Alan recommended, because I find it's really balancing. It is the most amazing thing for releasing physical tension as well as mental, emotional. And yeah, it's just astonishing. As Alan said right at the beginning, amazing what such a simple technique, really, once you've got the hang of it, can achieve. Alan gave us a little practice run, and he said he's going to do that again today before going on to do a slightly longer session. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. It's always a challenge on Zoom, but it's a good compromise. The challenge is obviously the sound, and being in the same room. It's as you experienced. We use quite hands-on as well. So, but yeah,
Yes.
it's a good compromise initially. But yeah, absolutely, yeah, we can do a little practice and then you can have a longer breathe, and then any questions and answers. Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you. Yes, because I'd forgotten to say that the other thing that you receive from Alan when you're in the room is acupressure, and that sort of enhances what you get in touch with the breathing even more. So yeah, I hope I've done you justice, Alan. I don't know if I have really, but if you'd like to get stuck in, then
yeah, absolutely. And it's
sorry.
not a problem. Not a problem. It's good to hear that you're and that you're still breathing. Or you're still doing the 10 minutes. Sorry. So yeah, it's great to be to get the opportunity to come online. As I said, I haven't been on Zoom for ages. I think my Zoom updated for about 30 minutes because the last time I used it must be 2 years ago. So anyway, I'm Alan. I've been practicing this style of breathwork now for nearly 6 years. There's most people when I mention that I'm a breathwork coach, breathwork facilitator, normally kind of roll their eyes and just say to me, well, what's that all about? We know how to breathe. Otherwise we'd be dead, which is quite a good observation. But then when I ask them a simple question about how they breathe, they look at me quite perplexed ordinarily and just say, well, we breathe in and we breathe out. And again, yeah, spot on answer. But then I talk more about where we breathe, and where we were designed to breathe as human beings. And the conversation tends to go from there. So what I'm going to try and do today is to just give you a little insight into the practice, a little bit about my journey, not too much, and then we'll get the chance to answer some questions, have a little practice, and then do a slightly longer breathe. You can do this sitting up. Ideally, you want to be lying down when you do it, but again, it's entirely up to you. The good thing about this breath practice is it's very yin, and the most important thing is that you're nice and comfortable. So there's never any pressure. Most people have heard of a chap called Wim Hof when it comes to breath work. He's quite big in the world of breathing. He's a Scandinavian guy who struts around in Speedos, jumping in ice baths, and I think he injected himself with Ebola to prove that his immune system was so strong. Wim's breath's quite yang. It's very popular. People post on Instagram. They talk about how long they're spending in ice baths. It's a positive breath technique because it's certainly helping them with their immune system. What I'm going to talk about today is a completely opposite style of breath work. It's very yin. It's not about posting on Instagram. It's not about bragging in the pub or wherever about how long you're spending in an ice bath. It's about reconnecting to you and allowing your body to heal, simply to heal. And because of that, it's something that can have a lot of resistance. And I always talk about resistance. Resistance is something that we feel and tends to come from the voice inside our head. So what you're going to experience today is a little bit of resistance because you're human beings. And that voice inside your head will be along the lines of, am I doing it properly? This feels uncomfortable. What time is it? Am I doing it properly? What's going on? Why am I feeling like this? And the most important thing with this style is you just carry on breathing. You just stick to your breath. So it's very gentle. At no point should you feel uncomfortable. So I discovered this breath technique about 5 years ago. I was given some tickets by someone who couldn't attend. At the time, I had a really bad back. It was a very, very wet, rainy Sunday morning. It was in central London, about 2-hour train journey. I really didn't want to go. And somehow, I now know the universe got me to Marylebone. I entered this huge room full of 50 mats. Said to the lovely lady on the door, I was the first one there, said to the lovely lady on the door that I had a really bad back. I didn't really know what I was going to do. I couldn't move a lot. And she said, that's fine. You're just going to come in and breathe. So I found the mat in the left-hand corner away from everybody, settled down, and I had no expectations. And then, wow, I had the most life-changing experience I've ever had. And it completely changed my life. And for me, it enabled me to reconnect to part of the person I was, part of my childhood. It's enabled me to remove some trauma I never even knew I had, and to be more in connection with my feelings and my emotions. So I always talk about being the best version of you, and that for me is listening to my feelings and my emotions. It was a long breathe. We were breathing for about an hour and 10 minutes. At the end of it, I couldn't stop crying. I had an out of body experience. It was just mind blowing. But this ego straight away it wanted to know why, what had happened. And that was an interesting challenge. I needed to know why. Why did this happen? What did it mean? But I learned very quickly that actually the key was just to allow what had gone on. So it was a very, very life-changing experience for me. So this breath style is it's referred to as a conscious connected breath. It's a very yin practice, as I mentioned. It should be something that you can do for hours. You should never feel uncomfortable. It's certainly going to create feelings within the body that are going to be unusual, and that again is where resistance comes through. But nevertheless, it's a very gentle practice, and it's all about you and your breath. So, as I said, it's a conscious connected breath. It's about allowing the body to go into an autopilot reset. So by doing this type of rhythmical breathing, your body is going to go into this autopilot reset. It's going to go into a self-healing mode. So anything that's out of alignment, anything the body needs to heal, it's going to start to work on. And because it's an abdominal breath, it's going to open up your respiratory system. And I think I heard something on the radio this morning. They're still talking about COVID. They're talking about flu epidemics. They're talking about all these different things. What we never talk about is how we breathe. How you breathe has a massive effect on your health. So when we are born belly breathers. We are born belly breathers for a reason. We are designed that way. Why are we designed that way? Because our system is designed to breathe at its optimal level. 85% of the world are breathing in their chest here, which is fight or flight. It's no wonder we're in such a mess when you look at all the crazy stuff that's going on. And when we breathe into our chest, we stimulate the sympathetic nervous system, increases our blood pressure, our heart rate. And the analogy I like to use is a bit like driving your car in third gear, and your car is telling you it wants to be in gear 5 or 6. The revs are high, the engine's screaming at you, please change gear. And we just turn the radio up. There's a distraction. I'm ignoring it. I'm going to carry on. And that's ultimately what you're doing when you're breathing into your chest. So what this breath will do is this practice will take your breath back to your belly. So it's an abdominal breath. It opens up your respiratory system. So it enables your immune system to function better. You're going to feel healthier. And as I say, on the back of COVID, I'm still amazed that we're not focusing as a population on how we breathe. But yes, by bringing the breath back to your belly, you're going to move into the parasympathetic nervous system. So your heart rate's lowered, your blood pressure lowers. So at the very least, even if you don't follow this particular style, if you adopt a belly breath or a diaphragmatic breath practice, your muscle memory will return, and your breathing efficiency will return, and you'll live a healthier lifestyle. So it's a very, very simple practice. So as I said, physically, it's very healthy, potentially lowers heart rate and blood pressure, moving from your sympathetic to your parasympathetic nervous system. It's great if you're exercising, if you like to walk, if you're an abdominal breather. Again, your heart rate's going to be lower, you're going to function better, your breathing all around will improve. Mentally, it deletes whatever's going on in your head, any noise. So if you're someone that suffers from, you struggle to get sleep at night, you're someone that feels overwhelmed, you're too busy, you can just delete all of that noise, and it becomes quiet. Our bodies, again, are only designed to cope with a certain amount of trauma, with a certain amount of anxiety, stress. When our bodies become overloaded, they can't regulate. So whenever we then have another experience where we're stressed or anxious, a bit like the car analogy, the body will start to fail. It will start to break down. How does it do that? In many ways, a few of which: colitis, IBS, digestive systems, lack of sleep, anxiety, depression, stress, some forms of cancer. These are purely because your body is failing to cope with the additional stress and anxiety we're bringing in, because we are not processing that which we've experienced through our lives. This, again, is a very simple way of allowing the body to regulate. So by removing stress, anxiety, trauma, naturally allowing the body to remove, we tend to cope better with life generally. This, for me, is a real easy superpower for regulating your body, so that you can tap in whenever you want. And as Susie mentioned, for as little as 10 minutes a day, and you can just manage your stress, your anxiety, and you can help your body. I mentioned to Susie before, I'm starting to work, some of you might have heard, with the Royal Surrey Hospital in Guildford after Christmas. And amazingly, I'm going to get the chance to work with the doctors and nurses, which is going to be interesting, because most of them are going to be here, and they are going to be resistant because they've been trained, which is understandable. And I can imagine there's going to be a certain amount of trauma and stress and anxiety that they're going to be carrying. But through this practice, hopefully, I can show them how to release. So I've worked in the past with quite a few ex-military who suffer from PTSD, who've done 25 years. And this, again, is a really gentle way of releasing. We don't need to talk about the past. They don't need to re-experience whatever they've experienced, because the body will naturally release. So as far as I'm concerned, I think this is a very positive, powerful gentle practice. And again, I'm often asked who should do this. Obviously, I'm slightly biased. I think everybody should be doing this. Everybody should be focusing more on how they breathe. School kids, parents, nurses, doctors, everybody, even those that I come across that say, I've got no baggage, I've got no stress, I've got no anxiety. Wow, where's that coming from? It's coming from this. We've all got it. It's the world we live in. So it's as I say, it's a conscious, connected breath practice. Whenever we breathe, it doesn't matter if you're like Susie, if you're at a festival and potentially we're there for 5 days and you come to each workshop every day, your experience is completely different. When I do my self practice, which I do nearly every day, it's a different experience, and the reason it's different is because we're not using our egos. It's not driven from here. It's driven from inside us. So it's our bodies that are deciding what they need ultimately. So it's like being or going to the gym, switching off the mind, and the body deciding what it wants to work on. So because of that, it's non-specific. What you can't do is come to a workshop or do this practice and say, well, I've had a really bad day, I've had a car accident, I'm really stressed, you need to get rid of it. It doesn't work that way because it's non-specific. Your body will start to do whatever it needs to do. So consequently, there are never any expectations. So even though we're on Zoom today, and not sure how long we're going to breathe, depending on time, I can say categorically, whatever experience you have is going to be different. And then if you were to come to a workshop when I come up next year, you'll have a different experience. If you're going to do daily practice, again, you have a different experience. So there's never any expectations. What sometimes happens, and this is what I say at a workshop, what can happen is the body can start to release trauma, anxiety, stress, whatever, by a number of different ways. So we can sometimes shake. So our bodies will shake and shiver. It's a neurogenic tremor. It's again something we're designed with. It's something you see impalas will do in the wildlife if they're caught by a cheetah. You see them, 1 minute they're in the cheetah's mouth, next minute they wiggle free, they manage to run away, you'll see them shiver, and then they'll start eating grass and drinking water. Ultimately, what their body has done is removed that experience. What we do as humans, now that we're rewired, because this crazy world we live in, is we suck it up. We hold our breath and we store it in our fascia, our soft tissue. And the best example is if we're in a situation where we feel like we're going to cry, is we hold our breath. I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry because I might look stupid, or I'm with people I don't want to cry with. I don't want anyone to see I'm upset. So we hold our breath. Now, whatever that the body wanted to release at that time is just stuck. It's stored. So what this practice will do is start to remove whatever you've been storing in this fascia, this soft tissue. And one of the ways is just shaking. Another way is you may feel emotional. So you may feel you're going to start to cry. I often get people say to me, I'd really like to come to one of your workshops, but I'm really scared I'm going to cry. Again, where's that coming from? It's coming from here. I've had someone at a workshop on my right who's crying, and someone on the workshop that's laughing. Again, it's the same release. It's just that's the way the body wants to remove it. So laughter, yawning, you can get gurgling in your belly, tingling in your fingers. All of these things are just a simple release. So the trick with this breath work is when you get the resistance, and we always talk about here. So when we come here, we're in fight or flight. It's just to continue to focus on bringing your attention back to your belly and the movement of your belly. So your attention should be here for the duration of your breath work. When it wanders, a bit like meditation, you just acknowledge the thoughts, bring it back to your belly. I'm going to cry, back to your belly. I'm laughing. What time is it? Am I doing it right? Doesn't matter. Just gently keep bringing it back to your belly. So your attention is constantly here with the movement of your breath. When it wanders, you gently bring it back. So it really is as easy as that. So that covers the breath. And at this stage, I would normally ask the question about James Nestor's book, Breathe. Really good book. And the reason I ask that is because James talks about the science of the breath. And I've had a couple of people that, and I'm sure I'm going to get it along next year. I had a scientist at a workshop, and he just
You
and
froze for
the
me,
answer is,
Alan. You keep freezing.
am I back?
You're back.
I
Yes.
keep freezing. I'm back. Sorry. So I was just saying,
okay.
is that better?
Yeah, you seem to be fully back now. Yeah.
Sorry. It's the body. It's what happens, see, when you talk about breath. Release. I just mentioned about the James Nestor book. Did you hear that? Yes.
I thought it was James Nestor, you said. Yeah.
James Nestor. So he'll talk about the science of breathwork. And he talks quite rightly about the fact that we should be using our nose and we should be breathing into our diaphragms, etc. I don't want you to worry too much about that today, because this isn't about science. This is about focusing on your breath and just allowing whatever is going to come up to come up. Okay, so any questions so far, which I know it's going to be a bit tricky because there's a number of you, but anyone want to unmute and ask any questions before I run through the technique and we have a little practice? Nope.
I just to confirm that shaking is one of the things that I noticed on the very first session. And the only other thing that I've experienced that in is cranial sacral therapy. So it was very similar, but it felt really great because there's something I can do myself to help release that tension.
Yes, yeah, it can. I've had a few people I've worked with that, and I understandably they can get quite scared. You know, my body's shaking and I'm not in control. Is this, is it meant to happen? You know, am I going to be able to stop? Am I going to live the rest of my life like this? And again, these are thoughts. These are all coming from here because the ego doesn't want to let go. The ego is driving most of our cars through life. It's the ego that tells us we're not worthy, we're not loved, we need to fit in, we need to wear this, we need to buy this. You know, we need this, otherwise we're not worthy. So it's understandable. And there are those that I've worked with before that just they can't do it. That just I can't do this. They, you know, and I've had a lady recently who said to me that she'd seen 7 therapists. And at the time, at the end of the one-to-one, said to me, I wish I'd found you years ago. And I've never seen her since because of this, you know. So yeah, it can. Sorry? No, it can be quite overwhelming, as I said, but the key really is just to allow the body to let go. So were there any questions before I move through the technique? No. Excellent. So there are 5 parts to the technique. The first part to this breathwork technique is we're going to use our mouths. Okay, so we're going to use, it's a mouth breath only for this practice. When you finish this practice, you should all be nose breathers, but for the sake of what we're going to do, you're generally going to drop your jaw, and as long as you can get your finger between your teeth, your mouth's wide enough. The reason we use our mouths is because we want to bring in as much oxygen as we can. We're going to over-oxygenate the body. It's life force, it's chi. It's that oxygen which is going to come into the body, and it's then going to start to move around whatever needs to come out with the exhale. So the more oxygen we get in, the more effective our breath can be. So the first part is we use our mouth. But again, as I said at the beginning, at any time, if you feel uncomfortable, you can go back to your nose. It's not a problem. But if that message is coming from here, ignore it. If it's coming from here, fine. So the first part is the mouth. The second part is the abdomen. So we're going to be breathing deep into the belly. So you have one or both hands just beneath your belly. You're going to feel the belly rise and you're going to feel the belly drop. So the second thing is the abdomen. The third thing is the breath itself, and the breath is going to be connected. So normally when we breathe in, we breathe out. Most of us will have a pause at the end of our breath. And then we'll take another inhale, we'll exhale, and then we pause. What we're going to do is delete the pause. So we breathe in. As soon as we finish breathing in, we breathe out. As soon as we finish the exhale, we breathe in. So the breath is connected. What we're not doing is speeding the breath up. If you speed the breath up, you're going to hyperventilate. It's not what it's about. Everything is slow, nice and slow. The fourth thing is the exhale. The exhale is short and soft, just like you're fogging your glasses. Simple as that. It's a short, soft sigh. Simple. It's not a blow. It's a sigh. And that's where we let go. We're letting go. We're not controlling. So it's not a push and a pull. So I'm not pushing to breathe in and I'm not pulling in my abs. I'm breathing in and then I'm letting go. Breathing in and letting go. And the fifth thing is the emphasis, and the emphasis is all on the inhale. The inhale needs to be about 4 times bigger than the exhale. Okay, and as I said earlier on, the reason for that is it's the oxygen that we're bringing in, the good stuff that's going to move around our fascia, our soft tissue, and it's going to bring out whatever it needs to bring out with our exhale. Okay, so it's an exaggerated big inhale, but it's your inhale, so it shouldn't feel uncomfortable. It's just exaggerated. Okay, is that all making sense? So even though there are only 5, even though there are 5 points, what I don't want you doing when you practice is to be thinking about the 5 points. Okay, because if you do, you're clearly going to be here. So the priority is to focus on 2, is to focus on the inhale. So making sure your inhale is nice and big. And then making sure the belly is constantly moving. So the breath is connected. There's no pause. All right. I don't want you worrying about anything else because I can remind you as you're breathing. All right. So I know from experience with Zoom, unfortunately, it is going to sound like I'm blowing. All right. But I'm not. When I breathe in, I'm breathing in. And then my sigh is short and soft. Okay. So I breathe in. I let go with the exhale. Your belly is still going to be dropping. You wait for your body to finish exhaling. We're not pulling in your belly. So you breathe in, let go, wait for your belly to finish. Just as it's about to finish, you breathe in again, let go, breathe in again. So it's often referred to as a circular breath. Okay, does that all make sense? As I said, if you can, it's easier if you lay down, but that's fine. It's entirely up to you. And if you're going to lay down, what you want is the gap between your chin and your chest to be nice and big. So not on cushions, and preferably with your legs bent, with your feet flat on the floor. But it's entirely up to you. It's always quite difficult to do it in the chair because of the fact that you can't fully let go because you're sitting up, so you're holding your posture. But as I said, it's entirely up to you. It's your practice, okay? So if you get yourselves ready, and if for whatever reason the Wi-Fi goes, it doesn't matter, I'm still here. Just carry on with your breathing. You don't need to worry. And as I said, this is a very yin practice. So at any stage If you feel like everything's moving too quickly, stop. Go back to a normal breath, all right? Just take your time. But remember, resistance is going to be present and it will appear and it will look a bit like, what time is it? I'm hungry. Am I doing it correctly? Is Alan still there? Have I lost my Wi-Fi, etc., etc.? So what we'll do first of all is just start off by closing your eyes and relaxing. So just shut your eyes and relax. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find your breath. So it may be the first time you've ever done this, but we're going to notice where you're breathing. So put one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. And I want you to breathe normally using your nose, just finding your rhythm, just nice and gently. Not doing anything special. We're not moving the breath. We're not doing anything at all. We're just gently finding your breath. And I just want you to notice where your inhale is going. Just notice what hand is moving more, the top or the bottom. There's no judgment. Just simply notice where your breath is going. And then I want you to bring your attention to your nostrils and start to feel that inhale and the exhale. Imagine the tiny little hairs inside your nose moving one way and then the other. And then if you're lying down and you can, if you just bend your legs so both soles of your feet are flat on the ground, that's going to help you move the breath to the belly. Otherwise you can stay where you are. I want you to now, using your nasal breath, just start to see if you can focus more on your belly, just beneath your belly button. So see if you can begin to inflate very gently. Remember, there's no rush, just to gently inflate your belly. So moving the breath to the belly. Remember, taking your time, there's absolutely no rush. And then I want you to begin to start to use your mouth to breathe. So remembering to check with your finger. Check that your mouth's nice and wide. So if you can get your finger between your mouth. And begin to inflate your belly using your mouth. Taking a nice, slow, exaggerated inhale. And then start to let go of that exhale with a short, soft sigh. So again, we're not pulling the belly in, we're just letting go. And just as that belly's going to stop, you bring it back up again. So you found that movement in your belly. So it's a nice, big, exaggerated inhale and a short, soft sigh.
Yes, I am. Are you?
Nice and big on the inhale. That's it.
Well, I'm
And let go of that exhale. So the exhale is short and soft. The inhale is nice and long. And remember, any feelings, any sensations, just keep breathing. Just keep breathing. Nice, big inhale.
helped a bit, but
And the existence, any resistance that's coming up, that's it. Just keep focusing on your breath. Don't worry about the noise or the speech. That's it. Nice, big, exaggerated inhale and a short, soft sigh. So your mouth's nice and wide. Your attention's purely on your hands. You can lick your lips, you can swallow, you can yawn. Just bring your attention back gently to your hands, back to the movement of your belly. So nice, big, exaggerated inhale and a short, soft sigh. That's it. So remember, your job simply to focus on the inhale and to keep your belly moving up and then gently moving down. But remember, we're not pushing the belly and we're not pulling the exhale. We're not blowing. We're just gently letting go, short and soft. That's it. A couple more breaths. That's it. So you can close your eyes. You can lower your legs if they're up. Close your mouth, sorry. Go back to a normal breath. You don't need to worry about doing anything at all. Just simply relax. Your body's going to breathe for you. Just close your eyes, relax. So very slowly, just start checking in with your minds, noticing any thoughts, feelings, and checking in with your bodies. Again, noticing any sensations, just really, really slowly. And then take a couple of gentle deep breaths in and out through the nose. Just focusing on your own breath. Begin to listen to the body. And then doing any stretches, anything your body needs to do. And then when you're ready, you can sit up, you can ask any questions, anything you wanted to talk about, anything that's not quite, you can't understand. If you wanted to ask any questions, I'm sure there'll be some.
Can I just ask, Alan? I mean, I've been a yoga teacher for many years and obviously know a lot about breathing, but personally, I didn't like it. Yeah. I do not like breathing through my mouth. My mouth was dry. It just doesn't feel comfortable. And if you read all, I mean, is there any scientific evidence about what you've done about breathing through the mouth? I know you're saying about the oxygen, but have you read the book by Patrick McEwen about breath?
I have, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. What
breathing through your nose opens your blood vessels, and he actually says in his book that we're fully saturated with oxygen. Yeah. And the way to get the oxygen absorption is by the pauses, by getting the carbon dioxide level right.
Yeah, it's all correct. As I said at the beginning, what this isn't is how you should be breathing normally. The reason we breathe this way is purely for this practice.
Right.
That's it. And that's why I mentioned James Nestor's book, because he quite rightly, and I wear mouth tape to do my spin classes. My wife's a yoga teacher as well, so I know that there's that resistance there. But yeah,
opposite, doesn't it?
It's purely about this practice. And the reason we use our mouth is because we want to over oxygenate. So what we want to do is increase our oxygen levels, but it's purely for this practice. As soon as you finish, back to a nose breath, back to the oxygen advantage, back to increasing the pauses between your breath, oxygen starvation, all of those things, but purely for this practice, because what we want is the body to go into that self-healing mode. And the reason it does it is because of the additional oxygen. So again, this is a practice that's been around for years and years and years. It's the same with Wim Hof's practice, 200 years old. It was designed by the monks to survive in caves, to get through the cold weather. But yeah, 100% agree with you. And I'm not advocating that you all change the way you breathe. It is purely for this practice. And as I said, Linda, if you find it really uncomfortable, you can switch to your nose. But just be mindful. With a nasal breath, your body is going to struggle to take control. All right, you're going to stay here potentially. So what we want to do is allow the body to take control. So that mouth breath and the additional oxygen does that.
So what's the evidence behind it then? You know, I know what you're saying, but who's proved that if this happens, or there's the evidence behind it? Is there any? I mean, I'm not being pedantic. I'm just asking.
No, it's fine. It's not fine. It's not a problem. And again, I appreciate what you're saying. What can I say? At the moment, there's a PhD being written about it, and there's scientific evidence to show that actually this is more powerful than meditation for controlling anxiety and stress. All I can tell you is that for me, it's changed my life. And the people I work with, it's PTSD, the doctors and nurses I'll be working with in Guildford, it can change theirs. So at the end of the day, it's not for everyone. It's like everything. It is not for everyone. But I can tell you, it has completely changed my life. And it's the best thing I ever found. However, it isn't.
As opposed to any other pranayama and breathing techniques then? So you're saying this is better than any other? I mean, there's hundreds of different breathing techniques, isn't there?
Not at all.
You know, is it any better or different to any of those techniques?
It depends on you. It depends on you. We're all different. We're all human beings.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think anything's better than anything. You know, if meditation works for you, great. If breathwork works for you, great. If Reiki works for you, superb. Yoga, sound bath. I mean, the great thing about the world we live in, there are so many holistic opportunities. However, for me, this is my superpower. All right. And there are some people I work with and it changes their life. There are other people that come and go and they'll find something else. And there are other people that will constantly be searching for a solution. What I like about this is it helps me go inside and switches this off.
I mean, I agree with everything you said at the beginning. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm just asking questions, that's all. I'm just finding it fascinating. The first time I've done a breath, you know, through the mouth, the only breath we do through the mouth is the B breath, you know, where you breathe in through your mouth. But I just find it interesting to know, you know, I agree with all the things you said about the parasympathetic and the sympathetic and people breathing into chest, because most people breathe up here. So I agreed with everything you said at the beginning. I'm not saying I didn't agree with your technique. I just personally didn't like breathing through the mouth. Perhaps it's because I'm just not used to breathing through my mouth, and I, you know, try and breathe through my nose at all times. So it's just alien. Maybe it's just something you have to practice. Maybe
yeah, absolutely. And I don't mind asking. I never mind anyone asking questions. I never mind. So please don't apologise. And it's unnatural. What I'm asking you to do today is unnatural. For most people, it should be unnatural because you're nose breathers. So yeah, it's gonna feel unnatural. And that's what I spoke about at the beginning. That's the resistance. Straight away, it feels unnatural. But you can do it. It feels unnatural. Actually, I don't want to do this. I don't like doing this. Fine. You know what?
Probably something to help do something different. Repatterning is good, isn't it? The other thing I didn't particularly like was a shorter out breath. I prefer a longer out breath because I think that's more relaxing. But I think it's just different techniques and getting used to it. But that's fine.
And The exhale again is key, because the exhale is where we are chucking out the bad stuff. It's where we chuck out the rubbish. So
Can I just ask something? Can I just ask something?
of course you can, Lindsay. Yeah.
What I found from the out breath, I couldn't get everything out in that sigh. I can't. While my stomach was dropping, I carried on breathing out. Is that okay?
Yeah. You don't with the initial out breath. We have a short, soft sigh.
Yeah.
And then your belly is still dropping. Your body is still exhaling, but you don't need to exhale everything. You do not need.
Carrying on. It can't just, because I've done yoga and things and all the abdominal breath, the same as Linda was talking about.
Yeah.
I find because I'm breathing so deeply, I've got a really long breath, and I couldn't get it all out in that one side.
You don't need to get it all out. There is no need to get it all out. You can carry on breathing.
I got into that. Well, I don't know whether it was a mental thing that I haven't breathed out enough. And then again, I went a little bit, well, what's going on? I'm not going to be able to, I need to get rid of this.
You don't need to. That's the thing. You don't need to get rid of all of that inhale before you breathe in again. You have the short, soft sigh, and your belly is still dropping. So your body is exhaling for you, and you don't need to worry about that.
Are you holding your breath then in that case?
No. So you breathe in.
I've breathed out while my belly's dropping, but then I found if I didn't carry on breathing, I was holding my breath.
I wouldn't have said you're holding your breath. No. So you breathe in.
Yeah.
You sigh, and now I'm going to carry on talking, and my body's still exhaling, and I breathe in again.
Oh, so you are still exhaling then?
Well, my body is. I'm not controlling it. My belly's still dropping. So consequently, as my belly is dropping on its own, or if you like, the body is dropping my belly, it's still going to carry on exhaling. I'm not in control of that exhale. All I'm doing is a short, soft sigh. I'm allowing the belly to drop. I'm feeling, not thinking. I'm feeling, waiting for the belly. As soon as it's finished dropping, I'm breathing in again.
I got confused about that on the workshop for the first few minutes. But what it is that because your mouth is open after the breath is still escaping.
Yes, that's right.
But you're not really.
Oh, that's fine then.
Out or anything.
Yeah. It's escaping, that's fine, because I ended up thinking, I'm holding my breath here because I haven't got rid of it all. But no, if it's still escaping and I'm not doing anything, that's fine.
That's it.
Too short enough breath.
I should have finished it all in one go, and I couldn't.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, you're still exhaling, but you're not in control of your exhale.
That's fine. I got that then. That's
but you did say it was a lot longer in breath than an out breath, didn't you?
100%. Your inhale should be 4 times bigger than your exhale.
And what's the reason behind that then? Is the reason behind that?
Yeah, because you're over oxygenating the body, and that comes from the pure inhale. So the inhale is life force, energy, chi. It's the positive, and it's that we want inside your body that is going to find whatever it needs to, and it chucks it out on the exhale. That's
who was the person that devised this system then? Do you know the person behind?
Yeah, the guy that taught me. Yeah, Alan Dolan. Yeah, he's breath guru. You can look him up online. Yeah,
Alan Dolan.
But as I said, it's not for everybody. And again, I've had some, if you get into the science of this, you can do, but you're here. I mean, ultimately, it's a gentle in-breath. You're extending your inhale. You're shortening your exhale. If that allows your body to remove stress or anxiety, do we really need to know why?
No, I understand it. I find I went a bit lightheaded. I mean, I've got a bit of a cold. My mouth was dry. I think it's just don't like breathing through my mouth, full stop. I mean, I go to bed with tape on my mouth to stop myself mouth breathing because my dentist is so against it, and there's lots of people against it, but I know you're saying it's only a short time, so I agree. I think it's just not used to doing that, and I found it a little bit alien, and I also found it alien with a short out breath. That's just my personal. I don't know if anybody else felt the same. Was it just me? I didn't particularly take to it, but it could be just I need to practice it more.
Yeah, it's definitely unusual. And as I said, I spin when I do my spin class. I mouth tape. And for me, I'm a 100% nasal breather. However, for me, this practice, it's changed my life. You know, and I've seen it firsthand with severe PTSD sufferers. However, it's like everything; it's not for everyone.
No.
And if you feel uncomfortable, you know, there's no pressure. There's never any pressure to breathe. You know, it's one of those things. Any other questions? Any other resistance? Yes, Jenny.
Hi.
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Alan. I was interested that you referenced James Nestor's book because I've read that, and a lot of the research he refers to talks about the value of a longer inhale and a shorter exhale, and also the what surprised me was when you asked us to feel where our own breath was, because I expected to feel more than I did of my chest moving. So I was quite surprised to find that, you know, my natural breathing is actually more abdominal than I would have, you know, from your description of how we tend to be more in our chest than our stomach. So that was interesting for me. Or maybe I'm just having a calmer day today. Yeah, I would just before I came on, uh, I hadn't realised that my laptop was going to take as much finding as it did, but then I was busy in the den last night. But before I came on, I was busy weighing dried fruits and measuring brandy tablespoons. So, you know, I might be, but I so for the practice, would one be doing what we've just done for 10 minutes a day, or what's the sort of the habit, the routine?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it depends on you. So, firstly, going back to what you said, James Nestor. Yeah, absolutely. And he talks about in his book. So, here's someone else who goes on he's done a lot of scientific evidence with mouth tape. In fact, I think from memory, he tapes his mouth for 2 weeks and he blocks his nose up for 2 weeks. So he looks at, he looks at both. So he really goes into the science. He does that after experiencing what you've just experienced, because he goes to a workshop, and the workshop he goes to in wherever, San Francisco, this is the style of breath. And he talks about the fact that he had an out of body experience and it blew his mind and he wanted to know more and why. And that's why he wrote his book. But going back to your question, yeah, it depends on you. And this is all about practice. That's the other thing. It doesn't matter if, you know, I've been doing this, 5, 6 years. I still practice. I'm not breath perfection. I still get resistance. I still get mornings where I really don't want to do it. So it's always a practice. But the more you practice, the less you think. It's as simple as that. And the less you think, the bigger the connection. But for as little as 10 minutes, but like I always say, you need to ground. So you need to make sure you're nice and relaxed. I always check in with my mind. How do I feel? I always check in with my body. Again, I be aware of what's going on. And then I find my breath, as we did first of all. And then I begin my practice for about 10 minutes. And then at the end, it's always good to have a shavasana. So you relax, because that's sometimes where a lot of the magic can happen. So yeah, for as little as 10 minutes, but allowing yourself a few minutes either side. The flip side of that is that a workshop and with Susie at the festivals, and it can be up to 40 people in a room. So the breath time is never as long as it would be ordinarily. But at one of my regular workshops, I only work with 6. You can be breathing for about an hour and a quarter, and it feels like 2 minutes. And of course, you get more into a rhythm. So there isn't really an upper limit, but the lower limit really is about 10 minutes, and that's because you need time to switch this off. But it is about practice, and some mornings you'll find your rhythm and others you won't. After a while, trust me, you know, you get used to using your mouth. It doesn't mean to say that you're undoing all of that work you've put in to become a nasal breather. It just means that you have the ability to use your mouth to connect. As soon as you finish your practice, you can go back to a nasal breath. So yeah, about 10 minutes really is the minimum.
And you've referred to doing it in the morning a couple of times. Is that just happen to be when it's the best time for you, or is it more effective the first thing one does after getting out of bed, sort of thing? Or
Yeah, it's exactly as you said. For me, it's a reset. So I do mine first thing in the morning. I get up, walk the dog, have a glass of water, and then I'll say to my wife, I'm just going to go up and breathe. And the reason I do that is because it's a reset. And then during my shavasana, I may be thinking about my day or other people. Potentially, if you struggle to sleep, you can do this before you go to bed. You never do it to sleep, because if you do, every time you breathe, you're going to fall asleep. So you do it before you get into bed, and it just clears the mind. Again, if you're in a situation where you've had a really bad morning, you're stressed, you're feeling overwhelmed, you can take some time out and you can do it then. The reason I do mine at the same time every day is it's like all these things, it becomes a habit. So it's part of my routine. It's just, for me, it works. If I've had a heavy day, so maybe after this workshop, I might need to breathe a little bit, only joking. Yeah, it depends how my day is, depends what's going on, but at least, yeah, every morning.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions? Okay, so the choice is yours. I don't mind. We can have a little bit of a longer breathe if you want to. Susie, you're the boss. I really don't mind. It's 2:30. I don't know what else you've got planned. It's entirely up to you.
I'd love a longer breathe.
I
don't know
would.
if anyone else
I
does.
would.
So what I'm going to try and do for 2 seconds, I'm just going to move my computer so you can see. As I said, the other thing I would say, it's one of the reasons I don't offer Zoom to clients, because for me, it's just, I'm not going to get fully naked, so don't worry. It just doesn't, it's the sort of thing, because it's hands-on as well. So it's a bit, Linda, it's a bit like that resistance you're talking about, which we all have, with acupressure as well. It makes a massive difference. If you're someone that's really struggling, or you're struggling to use your mouth, if you have a facilitator there, and the reason I only ever work with 6 ordinarily is because I can be hands-on. I can be using acupressure. We go in the lunar, the solar plexus, these 2 points here, which are your compassion points. You've got meridian light, the meridian system through your legs, through your thighs, through your calves, and all of those we combine with the breath. So it's not just the breath work. But the reason I wanted to do this is just to try and, if I can, try and show you. So using my belly, so I'm going to use my finger. So I take a nice big inhale. Use my mouth. So I take one nice big inhale. My belly rises. I then let go and wait for my belly to finish. So my knees are bent, my hands are here. So apart from the soft sigh, that's all I'm doing. So the belly's still dropping. Can you all see that? Does that make a bit more sense? So what I'm not doing is I'm inflating and then just letting go with a short soft sigh, waiting for the belly to drop. So even if you put a bit of pressure on your belly, how was that? Has that helped in any way?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Cool. I'm a bit dizzy now. Let me just put my speaker back in. Sorry, because it's better with a speaker. Right. Ordinarily as well, I played a bit of music, so yeah, you're certainly getting me in the raw. So ordinarily, I have some sound bath music, I have some Palo Santo. So yeah, it's as your first experience, I really wouldn't want anyone to be put off, because it is ordinarily, and that's why I would say if you're going to do any breath work, don't do it online. You need to be at work. You need the energy in the room. You know, it's all about energy. What we're doing is removing energy, and therefore being in amongst, you know, a room full of energy is what breathwork's all about. So yeah, but anyway, it's the best we can do. So okay, so we'll just set up like we did before. If you're going to join in, so either laying down with your legs bent, so the first thing we're going to do, again, because we always start our practice that way, is we're just going to find our breath. So one hand on the chest, one hand on your belly. And again, no judgment, just gently find your inhale. Noticing your rhythm. And then focus on those nostrils once again. So using your nose as you would do normally, just gently begin to feel the sensation of your inhale and your exhale. Imagining those tiny little hairs on the inside of your nose moving one way and the other. And then just checking in with your mind again, just asking yourselves how you feel mentally, what's going on, and just listening to what comes back, just allowing, accepting, no judgment. And then again, checking in with your bodies, noticing any aches or pains, sensations, just allowing once again. And then if you're lying down and you can, just bending your knees so your feet, the soles of your feet are flat on the floor. Bringing your focus back to your breath, and if you can, just switching to the mouth. Again, if it's uncomfortable, it's not a problem. You can use your nose, but ideally, just checking with your finger, making sure your mouth's nice and wide, beginning to feel, not think, just to feel that inhale inflate your belly. And then letting go at the top with a short, soft sigh. Allowing the belly to drop so the body is still exhaling. You're not pulling it in, waiting for that belly just to finish, and then bringing back your inhale. So connecting the breath. There's no rush, there's no pressure. So just gently finding a rhythm. And again, remember with the mouth, you can lick your lips, you can swallow. Just really take your time. Accept the fact that it's going to feel unusual. And if you can, just bring that mind back to your hands, back to the movement of your belly, up and down. And just keep letting go of that exhale. Remember, the exhale short and soft. The inhale is nice and long. The emphasis is all on that inhale. And remember, you're going to feel some tingling. You feel lightheaded. It's not dangerous. The worst thing that can happen with this practice is you fall asleep. So no need to worry. Just where you can, focus on those hands, on the movement up and the movement down. That's it. And remember, the belly is constantly moving. The breath is connected. It's safe for you to breathe. It's safe for you to allow your body to heal. And if the breath is connected, your body's going to gently move into this self-healing mode. the autopilot reset. So any feelings, any emotions, just keep breathing. It's a slow inhale, short, soft sigh. It's safe for you to breathe. It's safe for you to let go. That's it. Really extend the inhale. And then just keep letting go of that exhale. It's safe for you to breathe. It's safe for you to let go. Remember, any feelings, any emotions, just acknowledge them, but just keep coming back to your bellies, just beneath your belly button, and just feel that breath rise and drop. Remember, allow anything to come up that needs to come up. Just keep focusing on that movement. That's it. Remember, you're gonna feel resistance. It's not a problem. We're human beings. Just keep coming back to your hands. That's it. That's it. Nice, big, exaggerated inhale. Short, soft sigh. Mouth's nice and wide. The breath's connected. It's safe for you to breathe. Just keep focusing on that inhale. That's it. Remember, as long as you're focusing on the inhale and the belly is constantly moving, the breath's connected. That's it. Any tingling, any sensations, just keep breathing. Keep that mouth nice and wide. That's a nice, big, exaggerated inhale, short, soft sigh. That's it. Just keep coming back to that breath. Just allow the body to take control. Remember, keep that focus on the inhale. That's it. Mouth nice and wide. That's it. If you can, just increase the inhale ever so slightly. You can push down on your belly. That's it. Just keep letting go of that exhale. Licking your lips, swallowing, yawning. Just keep coming back to the breath. Remember, it's safe to breathe. That's it. Any sensations, just keep breathing. Just allow the body to heal. That's it. Nice big inhale. That's it. Keep letting go of that exhale. Remember, it's short and soft, just like you're fogging a mirror, cleaning your glasses. The inhale is nice and big. That's a nice, big, exaggerated inhale. So last couple of breaths, nice and big. That's it. You can even imagine the circle as you breathe in and you breathe out. That's it. So you can close your eyes, lower your legs. You don't need to breathe, just allow the body to breathe for you. You can focus on the energy within your body, but just try and switch off. Keep your eyes closed. Just relax. So again, very slowly, just check in with your mind, noticing any thoughts, gently checking in with your bodies. Again, noticing any feelings, any sensations, just really taking your time to come back into the room. There's absolutely no rush. Finding your breath, just noticing how you're breathing, noticing where you're breathing, noticing how your breath feels. Really taking your time. There's absolutely no rush. Listening to your body, doing any stretching, wiggling your fingers, your toes, just doing anything you need to do. You can stay where you are. There's absolutely no rush. Take your time, just slowly bringing your attention back into the room. So that was just a little longer than the first practice. Again, around about the minimum you really need to do for some breath work. So you may have felt a little bit different. It's a few minutes longer than the first one. So again, if there are any questions, anyone wants to talk about anything, please.
Yeah. I felt like it had given me loads of wind. My stomach really, really bloated, and I could feel all the air in my body round. So my stomach feels enormous now, as if I'm taking in too much air, and I could feel it moving right up into the upper part of my body as well.
Yeah. So how can I, yes. So what may need to happen there is there may need to be a bit of a release. So what you can find is that you you fart, you burp.
Yes, that's what will happen. I know it will. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Because for a lot of people, a lot of us when we're chest breathers as well, and I'm not saying you are, but
I'm an abdominal breather.
Yeah, it gets all the all the workings going inside your digestive system. So ultimately, there's all this energy going on in here, and all this stuff moving around your body, and farting, burping, yawning. These are all ways of releasing. So I would encourage you just to go with whatever your body wants to do. Yep.
So it felt uncomfortable towards the end that there was too much in there. Would that have been better just to release it or just go with it, because it was feeling so uncomfortable because I was getting so bloated with it?
Well, it should never be uncomfortable. So if it's uncomfortable, you just stop, you go back to a normal breath.
And then pick it up again.
And then it should never. This practice is not a form of torture. It's yin. It should be gentle. It shouldn't. You shouldn't be in a position at any time where it feels uncomfortable. So absolutely. If you're at that stage, just stop. There's no pressure. Go back to a normal breath, and then when you feel like joining in, carry on breathing.
Right.
But as I said, you may just need a release. It may have been if we'd have carried on, you never know. But yes, it happens.
Right, that's fine then. Right.
Okay.
I was aware of, after taking breathing that out, that I was holding a lot of tension still in my upper body while I was waiting for my stomach to lower down. I was aware that the only way I was trying to get around that was to put my attention back onto my stomach.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was almost like I was trying to control the last little weight.
Yeah, absolutely. So the bearing in mind what we're doing is trying to switch this off, and this is a form of control. So we are controlled by our ego, the voice inside our head. What we're doing goes against that, and therefore, as we're humans, the first time you do this, you can get a lot of resistance, and that resistance can be, and you did exactly the right thing. You carry on focusing on your breath. So you stop thinking and you start feeling. And these are compassion points. We carry a lot of, this is compassion for us. This is compassion for others. Absolutely. Just keep bringing your attention back to the movement of your hands and feeling the inflation and the deflation rather than using that. But you did exactly the right thing. Just come back to your hands. Any other questions? Nope. Cool. Well, as I said before, I'm more than happy to come up and do something in the new year. It is, as far as I'm concerned, it's always tricky over Zoom. And the reason I think for that is because, you really need a facilitator to be our job's to guide and hold space. And I always feel it's quite tricky to do that when I've got a microphone and a computer screen. So, but if there are any questions, Susie, I'm more than happy for you to share my details. You can WhatsApp, text, call, whatever. If you're going to do some self-practice, excuse me, and you want some advice, then again, I'm more than happy. There is the guy that taught me, so he's been doing it about 20 years. He's called Breath Guru. He has a free app. So you can download his app, and there are as an 11-minute and a 27-minute guided session. Alternatively, you can obviously use music. What I would never do is set an alarm. If you set an alarm for 10 minutes, you're just going to breathe, waiting for the thing to go off. And it's not great. So yeah, by all means, he's got videos on there. There's some tutorials and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, if there's anything else you need, then please don't hesitate to get in touch.
Well, I will be organising a workshop, so if anyone would like to work face to face with Alan in the new year, please will you get in touch, and then we can get a workshop together as soon as possible. I have to say, Alan, I felt really zoned out at the end then when we stopped, really relaxed very deeply. And Ali and I, my sister and I, both attended your workshops, and we both found it absolutely profound, the effects, just in a totally different space. And obviously the workshops were an hour and a half, weren't they? So
yeah,
it's a lot longer.
The festivals again are a little bit different because there can be upwards of 30, 50 people in a room. A proper full-on workshop, really ideally 6 or 7, and that's 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that gives you the chance. It gives you the chance to practice, and we'd be breathing for 50 minutes, an hour, and you get into your rhythm, and it's much easier. It's much easier. The festivals are still really good because there's more people in a room, and as you experienced it, it can be quite emotional. You know, depends what, and they can be quite resistant. Depends what energy's in the room. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh well, even with so many people in the room, I think there were probably about 20. It was amazing. Yeah.
Great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And thank you all for jumping online. As I said, if there's any questions, I'm always around. And yeah, anything I can do, please get in touch.
That was great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Susie, for organising.
Yes, thank you.
Nice slow breath in through the nose.
Oh, sorry, say that again.
Sorry.
And breathe out again through the nose.
I missed that. Sorry, say that again.
Did somebody ask a question then?
I thought I heard someone talking about breathing in and out through the nose.
That's right.
I heard that.
Hello? Did anyone want to ask a question? Do you know, it feels like we tuned into somebody who's not even on the Zoom there. I didn't recognise the voice.
It's the universe. Someone's in there. Someone's in there joining us. So yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
okay.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
No worries. Take care. Have a great Christmas, everyone.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
You too.